Welcome everyone to more live Linux development. Didn't do that for some time, right? At least optimizing our bootstrap. So the issue is someone has opened an issue, amazingly enough. Some people try to use our distribution, and what didn't work there, or what didn't work for them, they built on some distribution that apparently does not install ISL by default. Not really sure why, but that is the case. And I wouldn't care that much about that, but I noticed that in general we should have ISL in the correct build order, not only fixing this. I don't care that much about this particular one single case, but of course it's nicer to have the setup correct. But this also means indirectly that we do not build the cross compiler with ISL, and that was, I think, mostly GCC ISL loop optimization or something. So of course necessary to build GCC graphite loop optimization can be downloaded there. Source distribution for one subtree of ISL. We will build together alternatively with ISL configuration should be used. Installed in here. So yeah, and although I'm not sure, does it use? It sounds a little bit. Does it bundles that? We probably should check that. And we probably use that because we are, of course, the last people to support stuff like Intanium and Alpha. Not that we would have them, but we still support them. Like, yeah, anyway. Find GCC name ISL. So no, it makes it sound, so why do they make it alternate if an ISL source distribution is found? Ah, okay, so so you would need to unpack that, okay. So, because we also have the Intanium IA64 bootstrapping marginality case of that this also doesn't work for unwind shared details. So we could theoretically use that as a win-win for fixing both. Maybe not Intanium today, that is a little bit clean. Was it? That is a little bit tricky. What else do we have here? Okay, we don't have that much. What is with RxVT and Mendisk? What did we do there? Just, okay. This is actually UC, libc only. Black Fin probably also affects others, but. And so RxVT, what did we hit there? So basically I want a mostly clean tree. Completely clean tree would be even better. So usually some random stuff here. What do we have? There, maybe that was just a checksum, or that was just a checksum. And what do we have in GCC? So basically I just clean most of without. Actually theoretically we could actually make that so that we don't need this without set standards. That was because our cross build GCC also didn't set standard. Actually, maybe we don't commit that like that. Also, my doxes was hanging because Vodafone ongoing 3 years of network outage because that is Vodafone doxes Germany, failed infrastructure, don't delay, don't upgrade, don't downgrade to them today. So the idea here would be that we change the bootstrapping order once again. We had this major reshuffling mostly for Rust. And now that we have done that, because what we would need is, the problem is ISL needs, actually we could, before I wipe this build, also yeah, Firefox build doesn't build anymore. So there is some Wayland, so yeah, you update this and it's like, also I'm not sure if Look at that warning. Is that not amazing, outstanding? Also, this is ICU. So yeah, ICU common of warning free code on unallocated object underscore temp. Yeah, security. They got that. And actually security and bugs and stuff. But the real issue is that somehow there are undefined references to LLVM something. Yeah, everything was building. There are more undefined references of. Although it might theoretically could be related. Yeah, here undefined reference WL proxy Marshall flex is like, yeah. Although it could be LTO, but yeah, just everything was building in the next months. Like, yeah, not so fast. So let's wipe this build. I just built this overnight. No, we wiped this already because we want to correct this ISL order. And so this is not as simple as changing that ISL to... and again, so this is the first step, maybe the nearly last step of next year, completely rewriting, refactoring the dependency tracking for good completely. But for that we need the stage stuff in even more usable order. So that would be like build this before GCC. Oops, also there were excessive spaces. But so this will not build. I tried this already yesterday and we can start that, not to waste time. The problem is that ISL needs C++ stuff and we don't have that. So this is the usual Canadian cross and full clean bootstrapping issues. We built a cross compiler, GCC, G++, and that is only an incomplete cross compiler because it doesn't have the STL, for example. So because first we need this cross compiler, then we need to build the C library, and only then can we build the STL, for example, or other stuff. So this is what we need to improve, because with the cross compiler we cannot build ISL without the STL. So that is why this dependency was actually incorrect. It only built with a GCC feature disabled. So the idea would be now, and maybe we should stop the build in a second, to reshuffle this, or not fully reshuffle, but we previously had stage 0 cross toolchain, stage 1 cross compiling, and then everything else native, which was a little bit wasteful because mostly the stage 9 was mostly unused. So basically we had there some like sanity rebuilding in stage 2 and 3. It's like, yeah, just rebuild some stuff natively just in case it's half broken. That was from 15 years ago when cross compiling was more broken. So basically we previously accepted this few outliners, which we don't need because nowadays our cross compiling is top notch and not half broken. So basically this leaves stage 0 as cross toolchain, stage 2 as really cross compiling, and stage 5 as all native compiling, and the others is still. So the others will be mostly unused still, don't really need it the most. Maybe theoretically in the long term it might be an idea of eventually changing this. And although usually I'm quite conservative of not changing stuff to change stuff, but maybe after 20 years, maybe some one idea would be to do away with those numbers, because basically we have like 3 main plus maybe some fix up. So it's toolchain, cross, and native. So all the other stuff is like, yeah, we don't really need that really. Stage 9, by the way, was just rebuild everything, paranoia of circular dependencies and just in case. Never really used it much. So yeah, just to inspire and put the idea out, how could this be changed? It's like, yeah, symbolic names, like variable names of, and marking this stuff of, this is toolchain, this is this does cross, and everything else builds native or something. Plus, additionally, the dependencies. So right now we still use this low-tech numeric sorting from 20 years ago when we had like Pentium 300, 400, so AMD Athlon, and where we simply didn't have the processing power of spending so much. We didn't want to wait like minutes on like emerge some packages, like waiting minutes of dependency calculation and stuff. Anyway, so in the long term, we will of course do proper dependency Scheduling, we have this cache file with this cache dependencies. We just need to prove it a little bit, and then maybe next year we will fully do it. Cheers. So what we do now is quickly check with probably grep. Capital P might be enough to catch that, and so I would want everything that is built in stage 2. And this is also, okay, this is copy that is grabbing the wrong one, so much to not really, I mean, we could, the simple thing would be that, otherwise we would need to escape. Why is, this is also still wrong. Okay. We could either, so we could use the fact that that is at fixed locations, so that would be P. So these are the brackets. Again, we could type them, but it's more to type. We also have X, so it's like that. So this, yeah, so this is all the stuff that is in stage 1. And let me think about that. So the idea would be to only build the most minimal, so to use the stage 2 as all the cross builds, which we already do. And I think that has a chance to probably work. Why is textproc oniguruma in stage 1? That doesn't look the most right. And so people are saying microkernel coming this decade. Yes, of course. I have to go to work, otherwise take care. Yeah, happy to. You can watch this later, right, from the archive video. And have a good day there. So I would think, so the dependency, what would also, yeah, look at the strange dependency. We have the LLVM2 in 1 and 4 for crazy reasons. That is a little bit crazy. So the dependency ordering should be, well, there might still be circular dependencies of LVM depending on crypt setup or E2FS or whatever the case might be. So yeah, some stuff is clearly really overdoing there of libAIO for. So yeah, a lot of stuff I see there on the first glance is just historic. Yeah, not really needed there. Especially this. So in stage 1 should only be stuff that is vitally required for cross-building, and like this probably I copied from somewhere. So I guess 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many verses? So grabbing that word counts, that's 122. So I would say we don't need most of those. Also, we should stop the build soon. But basically microkernel coming after this fun stuff here. So yeah, all this archiver stuff. So basically I would say we disable we remove all the explicit stage 1 stuff that should not really be needed anymore. And that also simplifies in the future, like if we have determined that that works, everything else should be dependency cycle resolved with proper dependency graph. So the only thing what we need, so we need early the C library, and we mostly need that a little bit explicit in general, plus we need the STL from GCC for C++ stuff too. But so I would say we only leave like Linux headers in here, although I'm not sure why we rebuild the Linux headers here. Should they not be? Although maybe this is, maybe they should be identical. Very theoretically, we might be able to do away with building that twice as well. The question is, of course, always famous last words. We might still need to tweak some numbers for that to actually really work. And so the only thing I think we should leave here is the C libraries, glibc, uclibc, diglibc, musl, Like, yeah, some stuff is this really historic relics that we have, like diff utils and stuff, and that's of course totally not. Also, okay, we theoretically probably need to explicitly mark stuff that we might need for the build, like this CC, that probably, but that, yeah, so basically a lot of the stuff, I mean, maybe it actually, okay, I mean, some of the stuff has a purpose because otherwise it is not cross-compiled during bootstrap, so lots of other stuff. Yeah, so we probably want to substitute that to, there's also this bash has a funny priority. So basically the point is normalizing all this stuff. So we want to substitute how do we do that? Maybe we test that on, like, what would be good to test for that? Like net tools, like for example, that we also don't really need the most net tools. Also, we should take care to building LVM, making good use of some background cycles, because we shouldn't build too much into stage 1 to fully test that. So we should stop the build. So net tools. And then SED, so how do we do that? Do we match this and then like substitute space substitute space dash any, then the promise we need to capture that stage. Oh, wait a second, what do I even have there? Substitute substitute space. So that would be any selection, any default selection, and then we need to capture that. So that would be darn, so much to know. We tapped some non-breaking space. Shit. Better. Yeah, I have. I wonder which locale I'm using. Substitute. Maybe I should just hit. Substitute that to that. Oops. Yeah, nothing like DOCSIS cable. I pressed Ctrl-C already. I thought I had. I had here still. This is why. No, my DOCSIS things because. So. lib2, yeah, we should cancel that now soon, better before we build this stuff. So that one, and so substituting, oh, this also substitute something wrong. The substitute, this is funny. Does it do some, is it some special form of substituting the matched stuff? Interesting. Didn't even know that. Maybe I should check. So substituting any selection, so any selection, and that needs to be captured. And then 1, 2. All right, you know what? We need to capture everything. Wait, that was Captured and then not stage 1 but 2. Oh, you know what? This also means we need to capture one more. So look at that. That probably, so should this have any bugs? Debugging regular expressions left in this channel. So I should, let's quickly, I should not have any changes in desk files. Or do we have? Oh, right, except what I manually, so this are 2. Then in place on all the desk files, because we're feeling lucky and have revert in case of. And ICC is obviously complete garbage there. Maybe we should actually, is Intel, maybe we check if the Intel C compiler is still around in some minutes. And so the only thing is we want to revert glibc. So yeah, we substituted that, and that is of course SVN revert. And oops. Yeah, nothing like a totally lagging DOCSIS cable from failing Vodafone's infrastructure. Working at home, totally amazing. I guess I need to carry the workstation out of the office. Muso, diet libc, and UC libc. Do we have probably both? And what else did we have? Linux header. And probably while at it we could, so this is what we substituted, some manually tweaks plus the other stuff. This is some alternative package manager. So yeah, so some stuff like gzip and so on is explicitly built in any case, so that is for native bootstrap. See, look, I'm actually, because this is an attic already. AVR libc, it's probably SVN. There was also like W32 or something API. What else is in here, by the way? So what else do we have? I would basically grab, so for example, MPFR, I have no idea for what quirky reasons we had that in stage 4, basically all of those we have there. I mean, maybe I substitute the stage 4 away on all of them, to be honest. Maybe I should do that sooner than later. Although fget, for example, we don't need to explicitly cross-build because it is not bootstrap related. Let's see how many packages for, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. I think we should redo that with, I mean, these are not that many. We probably should redo that in substituting that mostly to, except maybe this files. substituting stage 4 to stage 5 to get rid of all these outliners here. Maybe we should do this before we... So yeah, some stuff is clearly someone copied that from something, by event log is clearly... So again, this was previously... Why is this superfluous? And because this was meant for sanity rebuilding important libraries and stuff like 15 years ago when stuff, when our build setup was not yet as sophisticated. Interesting. Thanks for the report. It's installed for me in general. Maybe I don't really have VMware with me. Maybe I should. Which ISO was it? Was it the last one? But yeah, would be. I mean, the most amazing thing would be, because I'm already a little bit busy here, obviously, would be if you distill this to a patch. The patches are the most amazing. Otherwise. This bin 86 disk is also funny. Why is that like 0 and 4? That is also funny. Anyway, I probably should install a full x86 EFI, although alright, I have my old MacBook, Retina MacBook here with me. Yeah. Anyway, so let's also substitute. So what other was that? So let's test this with core utils. And then we continue the build. Actually, you know what? We could already continue the build. But yeah, so basically, this is live on this channel, right? As soon as an open source developer just earns some hundreds, if not thousands, euro of ads and Patreon and GoFundMe and stuff, then not to mention OnlyFans and GitHub sponsors, and you can finally start to work on this stuff, right? And make it like totally nice and bug-free and so on, and modernize and refactor and microkernel. So SED, so let's do that again for, what did I say? I said core utils. Let's first test this. Core utils here, and that would be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 to what was it? 0. Could we simply, I guess we could just run it without this explicit match, so but whatever. Maybe doesn't matter most to change the safeguard there with the first safeguard match. So to 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 to everything captured 5. And that looks right. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. Making build priorities more amazing, one SED at a time. In place. Disk there. What could possibly go wrong? T2 21.5. Okay, I mean that is a otherwise should be good release. We have a little bit. All right, I didn't. There is an either unnamed. Let's see. I uploaded just some days ago, like release candidate without another explicit name. So that would be. Or did I name this? So the best thing to navigate is probably. Leave in the comments below. Do we need a better ISO picker chooser? Actually, I named them halfway decent, right? So these are like basically release candidates of 6 months of even more cleanups. And if you have the time, you could actually check with this one that has like minimal desktop, glibc, that one here, right? 2111. That might be better. At least the Spark one was tested. Not sure how many people tested the other one, but yeah. So how many? And probably, as I mentioned in another video, we probably need even more tests, unit testing of this stuff. So we still build this, right? We're not wasting our time here. We actually build stuff. And so this is not everything. We also additionally need to change the GCC stage, second stage. So similar to the Rust. So basically the new setup is stage 0 toolchain. So the only things that changed is the stage 1. Earlier this year or last year, like recently, some months or a year ago, we changed. Previously stage 2 was native. So since quite some months, stage 2 is native. Stage 2 is the main cross stage. Previously that was 1. And we now, what is new is that between the toolchain Canadian cross-compiler toolchain stage 0 and the build everything cross-compile everything stage 2, between that we have the stage 1, which previously was the only cross-compile stage, and now we use this stage 1 for building the C library plus fixing whatever compiler marginality there might be, which is mostly the STL, and for Itanium rebuilding the cross-compiler with shared lib-unwind support, because Itanium is a little bit, especially, if not say buggy, feature sensitive there. There's actually some really strange, funny clock thing going on. So basically what we probably want to do next is check which stuff is still in stage 3 for a quick check, which is not that much. This UML utility is also really what if people... Yeah, we probably should mostly do away this historic stage. This were, I mean, I remember we probably were sitting on some Chaos Computer Congress, CCC, probably 20 years ago, like CCC 20, what was it, 23, whatever that was, or 19 or so. And so that was our Linux developer meeting usually. And I remember we probably were brainstorming with the stages, and probably the argument was maybe even from Claire and me or both, or we all agreed like, yeah, better. I think previously we didn't have that many. That is a Linux 2 feature from 20 years ago. And I guess the argument was better more, because like, well, single digit like 0 to 9 is like enough for everyone, right? Better more than too little. And like, yeah, 20 years later, it's like, nah, don't really need this for anything, just like random chaos. But yeah, for example, here is 3. So yeah, mostly that is this completely nonsense. Like basically, although we have here Python, I mean, maybe the only reasonable thing might be Python. Not sure about this. Also, Python is wrong. What is? Oh no, it's not wrong. I just looked at this wrong. GCC. So yeah, should we do that today? By the way, can we? I think GC probably should be rather stage 2. So like, yeah, probably we want to change stage 3 to 5 as well. So you know what, this is so little, maybe we do this later. This is still building. I mean, maybe we do this manually because not to mess this up. Cut delimiter field 1. What is that? Clock, yeah, so no. What is that? Module init tools 3, 2, 3, 4, and this is where we automate this, right? 2, 3, 4, 5. And password util stuff, probably copied it from something. It's like, yeah. What is that? Term cap 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5. UML. So this auto totally outdated. Is user mode Linux still a thing? So here that is 15 years old. So 3, 4, 5, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Looks like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Actually, the cool thing is, looks like the Vim syntax highlighting actually has a check for that. Amazingly enough. What is that? GDBM. So, yeah, nope. So, but then we really call that a day. So, yeah, better correctly cross-compile this, I think. If it cross-compiles. I hope this really is like famous last words, but one more thing. It's the usual habit, one more thing, but I really hope, this is GCC, so actually wait a second. Did we auto substitute that? Probably has this. We actually really need an. So yeah, nowadays, so this safety sanity rebuilding stuff totally gone. I think this is the right thing to do because we expect our cross compiler. We ship this cross compiled ISO, so we expect our cross compiler to be top notch and amazingly working, especially after today's change with ISL. To what do we have here? Perl. I mean, Perl and Python might be the only stuff that we might leave for rebuilding early. We will see what we do with it another day with Python. Yeah, thank you much. Although theoretically this should cross-compile, but patches welcome to cross-compile Python. What is it? Heimdall. Okay, so that looks like that was everything. But yeah, so basically this also means after this month, one more thing changes. The really big, super annoying, not to call it issue, but rephrasing it as usability marginalities is then also fixed, like this config confusion and cross-native stuff. And like, although to be fair, stuff that mostly hit power users like myself, rebuilding everything and constantly and from scratch and stuff. But nonetheless, after 15 years, it really got boring for me and certainly looks not good. So we are building that. So what we are waiting for is GCC. And basically, what we could already do is we change the GCC package. Now we need to be careful though. Did we? We probably had some conf changes, right? Because this was not fully clean. Here we need a little bit careful. Okay, not really much. Wait a second, what do we have in... Do we... Oh wait, this was not... What? librsvg. Where do you even look there? Linux conf. What did I diff? Desk. I diffed this wrong. So that was actually somehow I guess I forgot to commit that because that is the init. This is a moduleless proved Linux conf to no building without modules. I've made a CPI init RD patch code, something of that sort. So yeah, so we now entered the stage 1, and that is a new thing, and we probably want to Control-C that soonish. And then we're actually already mostly done, except we need to test this as per usual. Also, yeah, the recurrent theme, I just tested the heck out of it on M1 Max Apple Silicon, and people tested this at least on Spark, and so GCC we want to Control-C that because that we want to change. Not to build, we had here already some custom setup. And the new custom setup is basically we pre-built the STL previously, and we probably, I'm not even sure, GCC build, did we end up GCC build architecture? Maybe not. I actually factored that out. GCC build module, I think I grabbed this right, did I? GCC build. I factored it also, maybe I've used it in, I thought I need to use it for some uslibc hacking. But yeah, so libatomic, actually we use it in uslibc there. Wasn't sure if we ended up committing that, but apparently we did. So the new thing is that instead of custom pre-building that GCC module, that would be pre-building basically if at stage because how do we basically what we could do, we only need to build the STL for the most part anyway, except Itanium. At least right now, as far as we know. Famous last words. Next year we will find some other quirk necessary. So much code. Basically, so all those options. Was this a double? Or was it something else? 1 second. Whatever it was, wasn't a double. Some other strange electric stuff made some noise. Cheers. We still have it on the focus. So where do we best? I mean, we built this with all these config options. So I just need to. Here's ISL with ISL rules. So this is optional if installed. Actually, where is the tool chain? I mean, the Itanium thing we can quirk later, that might be even more ugly. Obviously, and I still need one, so if you have an Itanium to spare, leave me in the comments below. So pre-make, so the thing is pre-make, post-make. Because some of the stuff we I mean, most of the stuff we don't really need for the STL. I'm just wondering. I mean, maybe it works if we simply what is it? Oh, we need to reset. So if we here, so basically we can simplify that here. Basically we can use the same, we used already this quirk for min.gw. So we need to do something with that probably later, but otherwise we can simply say, okay, because that config script, that of course simplifies quite a bit, and so that only thing, this is why I keep this here as a comment, because we later, if MinGW, not the highest priority release platform, but so if cross do that stuff, and the only, all right, so if cross, and then we have the special case of if at stage 1, that is our interim fix-up stage now, then I hope that works like that. If at stage 1, then this stuff, which is basically, or we can make that to work immediately, not to cause any regression, otherwise we would have an MinGW regression for those handful of people using T2 to build Windows, cross-build Windows executables. Oops. So basically, so this is a comment for, oops, just because we need to leave this GCC build module thing for, actually maybe it might be worth to factor this uslibc hack into here another day. But anyway, for now we need it there. And then also this hack probably, yeah, this hack needs probably a rework if we, anyway. So at stage, so basically if we wanted that to continue to work, then we can, if at stage 1 or that here, so then MinGW always, just build STL. And the other is just comment of what. So let's see if that works. This is why we control C that early to fully test it. Also, the stage name is not, stage name 1 is not, okay, then we need stage level. What did we do there? NPC, okay, that didn't work. Stage, oh, so at stage, then simply stage level equals 1, or actually we can max this in. So at stage level equals 1 or MinGW. Let's see how that does. Maybe I should actually have built this with verbose. That didn't do really. Yeah, TNT invoice as executable.exe urgent. TNT invoice. Yeah, you had me at .exe. What's going on here? To all target lib GCC. Did we? Maybe this is another quirk. Do we still need this? That was another hack, I think, that I even forgot already. So lib GCC. Pre-build lib GCC and pre-build and install. How was that? Pre-make. Okay, so apparently lib GCC was needed for pre-build and install required lib GCC. Okay, so I think, how was that? so lib standard C++, this comment is misleading. That didn't work. But what was the dependency order? Oh man, so much. I mean, yeah, if that would be me, if I would work on a GCC Free Software Foundation compiler, I somehow would have structured all the build system in 30 years a little bit so that stuff builds more automatically. How was it? We needed that what was, so we built this pre-make, was it, maybe it was, I don't even remember. So many details, there's a real limit of how much complexity you can keep in your brain. And I remember freaking too much of 20 years. Stage level equals 1, so what did we, I deleted that, of course. We had that as preconf 7. Okay, so we, you know what that does? I think that does not work. If that was preconf 7, so what do we want? Sometimes it's best to step one step back. We want libstdc++, STL, and we want libgcc. The question is only in which order. And I should have, maybe we should SV unlock. And this is why, if you're wondering why I try to write somewhat professional commit messages, the better they are. More strict GCC LTO. Okay, this was not to apply multi-lib workaround Spark. Where is it? Oh, this is super old, by the way, 2005. Canadian crossfix to include. Right. This maybe this was for STL version symbols or something. I think it worked for a decade until I realized it didn't have version symbols. Now send my Doxus cable should hangs because hello typing. Oh man. Yeah, so that was it. So probably what was it? Right, I think at which, so this is which hook was it? So I think libgcc, so I think this was, now that I see that, I think it was fixing version. And so at which, so this is pre-make. Maybe this only works because the configured, only the top level configure did run. So basically stage 1 should build libgcc and like a shared, so a shared libgcc, that is the issue here actually. And for this hack here to work, we need a full top level configure, which we just disabled. Maybe we YOLO that differently. Let's see, what did we, because this is actually changing, that is actually an even more major reshuffling. Yeah, so let's reverse this, we don't have here anything else. So I think the easiest hack for that, which is getting a little bit hacky, but we can, after like this month of testing that it actually works, lib std c++, and also yeah, how some couple of liners, like 5 liners patches, can cost like some hours of IT professional time, because yeah. So we build, so preconf 7 that, so we leave that untouched. We preconf build a preliminary ST, oh wait a second, is that? Yeah, so one issue is, if we, how was it? So this STL is not versioned though. I mean, for now we could. Where's my? Did we focus? I didn't focus. So yeah, quite some complex chicken and egg dependency circles here. Maybe the easiest for now is just to leave it. What was our goal? Our goal was, so if we just leave it like that, we just waste some CPU cycles of rebuilding GCC like a second time, a bit more. But I think otherwise, oh wait a second, the first time we don't have ISL. Oh man, is it annoying? Okay, we can try how far we get if it works fully. If we pre-build the STL and then the second hack here, where is it even? Here, of installing, where is it? Which this is pre-make. And after that, disable the rest of the build, so that is pre-make. And if we are here, also wait a second, we only want this in stage. Okay, we still need to change it a little bit, because we only want to do this not in like each cross stage. So this is basically only the new interim fix up stage level 1. It's a little bit nicer. Stage level 1 and make opt, and then if that is that level, we simply disable the rest of the build with clearing make opt. And the other std here is basically also if, which we previously had here already. Wait a second. If min.gw, then that. else. I actually start to elif else elif, yeah. Also special naming of C preprocessor versus also at times. Start to list over elif also, yeah. Not amazing naming, but yeah, shell scripting. Stage level equals 1. Basically stage level 1. So the question is, does it work and does it survive a bootstrap? And then we call it a day. How long do we? Oh, wait, I stopped this like twice. But do we live stream 1 hour already? So this build shouldn't build that long because we only. So this surely can't write that we live stream 2 hours. YouTube live streaming stuff. We should have probably built this with verbose. This basically makes the stage 1 really short of only, yeah, also, yeah. So, okay, this, yeah, because we have so much to, what could possibly go wrong? We don't have, you know what, maybe, let's think for this, let's think about this for a second. Maybe we only, you know what, maybe we only, if we only, because now configure complaints, it probably pre-builds the STL and then complains, yeah, I don't have the rest. What if we stop the build already? So basically we have here an STL. I think building libgcc was not easy. I think this was quite intertwined into the build process. But if we like GCC build module that and then make, like basically stop everything else, make opt equals nothing, and a little bit hacky, but first we need to get this to work and then we can clean up this mess later, eventually, like next year. Where was make opt equals, so that would be interim fix up stage build solid GCC, and that pre-make, and that we only do, it's not how I would want to do that, but so basically as a hacked STL, yeah, I mean theoretically we would want a little bit more there, libgcc for Antenium. So yeah, the bigger cleanup and Antenium fix up another day. I think what could work and might be nicer, but this is out of the scope of this video. If we instead of hacking that manually, I know that I think it builds the libgcc correctly. So if we change this GCC1 stage to rebuild the Canadian cross compiler entirely, similar to how we bootstrap Rust. All right, it still runs configure, right? How can we finish? Okay, the problem is it still reruns configure. Oh, you know what? We could actually, now that we how is it? We could actually do the rest how we previously did this. Yeah, rewriting this. It's like, yeah, so many special cases. It's already. If we basically, how we did this previously of, oops. If basically kernel equals, so we had this already 20 minutes ago, but sometimes it takes a while to. Stage level still 1 or that. That might work. So only this fix. Although this needs a little bit adaptation then for use libc, but we can just. So yeah, again, so the even nicer thing might be it's differently tricky in itself, but probably that would take care of fixing libgcc and STL of rebuilding all the Canadian cross compiler. But that is, yeah. But as you see live in this channel, all this attention to details takes so much time, and obviously without epic thread ripping Horizon performance, you would sit here weeks and months if you would wait for your yesterday's Intel Core or something to rebuild all of this in 2, 3 or 4 times the time. So yeah, now that build, I wonder, that should have only the STL. And it is, as outlined earlier and in the title maybe, a huge step towards getting rid of this numeric stages and priority sorting entirely, like next year or so. So this installed actually, yeah, so the STL there, also this installed this GDB Python thing, which I wonder if we even want it there. Here is some more libgcc, is it? Not sure. But anyway, it doesn't matter too much. Might be. Also, why is Rust now failing? Hello? Does it need, cannot find, darn, that needs libgccs. Oh, wow. So yeah, works in principle, but needs more work, darn. So yeah, then we probably go one step further back to the drawing board and set up GCC2. Yeah, but that is another hour. Yeah, we can't YOLO that quickly. Yeah, on the plus side, the next hour spent on that, the next boring hour, but leave in the comments below. Yeah, I probably should pre-edit some proper videos for mass audience to watch. But yeah, that is also always the stuff, right? You think, yeah, that will build like that then it doesn't, and needs that and that dependency and that quirk, and then even you think, okay, that could bootstrap like that, but Rust. I mean, we could, as a test, we could skip Rust and later fully rebuild that this afternoon or night and see if if everything else, let's see, so that should cross build. Again, that's not properly fixed, right? It's just testing if we get somewhere, and then it's lunchtime. So the important stuff to know would be, I mean, I could actually already commit everything, although just to archive it and have a backup snapshot. Although the only thing is if we can't get it to work, like if we, that could also always be, right? Open source or commercial software, right? You sometimes invest hours into some problem and at the end you figure out, nah, it doesn't work like that for whatever reasons. And that could also happen here. Now we build bin utils. I hope bin utils doesn't need anything other additional fancy. Okay, that even builds. So we need GMP, so we need all those prerequisites there for GCC, GMP, MPFR, MPC, and ISL. Although I'm quite confident, like 90% confident, that we should be able to YOLO this Canadian cross-compiler thing. The only thing is, it is building that a little bit different out of T2 spec in terms of toolchain, sandbox separation, and installing stuff into the sandbox. But Rust, I think it should work because it worked for the way we integrated the Rust bootstrap. So let me think, what was for Itanium? Itanium was, yeah, it was exactly the same issue which only Itanium needed of rebuilding GCC with shared support, which we can only do after the C libraries there. So I'm 90% confident. Also CMake, the CMake constantly fails anyway. We probably also simply want to build this later. That is not a showstopper for me. The CMake is not amazing anyway. Not amazing, not a priority. We simply can and should build this later. Okay, so yes, that works now. So MPFR, ISL, and then it should be soon GCC, and then this GCC should be have this ISL-based graphite. So we built this already. So do we have any or? So yeah, basically, I think this should work except the Rust case, which, yeah, I'm 90% confident we can, with changing this even more, make work. And I'm also 95-ish also percent confident that this should address the Antanium issue. But anyway, that's it for this video. I need to run, get some sunshine, have dinner with Junior, and then don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. I hope you learned something, especially as all this open source bootstrapping stuff is dry, potentially boring, and certainly even 20 years later, tons of work. Leave in the comments below what you think. The crazy thing is, previously LLVM Clang bootstrapping was a little bit more modular but similar head scratching. They changed this now to mono repository, or how they call this, and now praised on some news sites for mono repository, for us even more headache of similarly bootstrapping that. So yeah, I guess should we, but yeah, leave in the comments below what you think, your experiences, your feedback, your wishes, and everything else in between. We probably could commit this as a backup and then probably test the last step. Leave in the comments below if we should live stream the other next step as well, or is it too boring? And I hope you learned something. Don't forget to share and subscribe, and I hope to see you soon for even more such open source stuff to come.